Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. So in today's video, we are going to find the midpoint between two endpoints of a given segment. So let's start. So midpoint formula. So midpoint talks about location in between 2 points, which actually divides the segment into two equal distances or equal parts. So the midpoint formula is a tool in finding the coordinates of a point that is equidistant from the two endpoints. So we can find the midpoint between point A and point B, whose coordinates are x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2, by simply getting the average of the x and getting the average of the y. So the midpoint formula is stated as the midpoint's coordinate is x sub 1 plus x sub 2 divided by 2, and our abscissa of the midpoint is y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2. So basically, we just have to find the average. Okay, so let's have examples. So example number 1. Find the midpoint of the line segment joining point A, whose coordinate is 1, 4, and point B, whose coordinate is 13, 10. So I have here a Cartesian plane, and let's see how far they are from one another. So point A is located here, 1 and then 4 above, and then 13, 10 point B is, we move 13 units to the right, and then 10 units up, which is located somewhere right here. So the midpoint of points A and B is a location on this Cartesian plane which actually divides the segment AB into two congruent parts. As we apply the formula, so our solution will go x sub 1, y sub 1. We let x sub 1, y sub 1 to be our point A, and x sub 2, y sub 2 has the coordinates of point B. Oh, sorry, this is supposed to be point B. Okay, so by substituting into the midpoint formula, we are going to add 1 and then 13. So that's 1 plus 13, and then 4 plus 10. So 1 plus 13 divided by 2 for the x-axis coordinate, and 4 plus 10 divided by 2 for the y coordinate. So by simplifying this fraction, we are going to get 14 over 2 and 14 over 2 for y. And simplifying it, we are going to get that the midpoint is located at 0.77, which implies that the distance between point A and M is the same as the distance between point M and B. And we can check that using the distance formula. You can check my video on the distance formula on how to find the distance between these points. Okay, so let's have another example on the use of the midpoint formula. Okay, so use the midpoint formula to prove if a quadrilateral is parallelogram. So given that point A, whose coordinate is to -4, point B 7, 1, point C -1, 5, and point D at -6, 0 are vertices of a quadrilateral. We are to show that ABCD ABCD is a parallelogram. So how are we supposed to do that? Take note that a quadrilateral is a parallelogram if and only if its diagonals bisect each other. So for us to understand further how to solve this problem, let's illustrate our given. So in this Cartesian plane, let's plot points A, B, C, and D. So connecting all these points, we're going to form our quadrilateral. And since we are to check whether this quadrilateral is a parallelogram or not, or is a parallelogram, we connect the diagonal AC and the diagonal BD or DB. Then we have to check whether the midpoints of these two diagonals are the same, because if their midpoints are the same, meaning they bisect one another. So for the midpoint of AC, we add 2 plus -1, which will give us a +1. And then for the y coordinate, -4 plus 5, which will also give us 1. So therefore, the coordinate of AC's midpoint, the coordinate of the midpoint of AC is 1/2 and 1/2, or 0.5, 0.5. Now let's go to segment BD. So for segment BD, we add 7 plus -6, which is 1, and then 1 plus 0, which is also 1. So 1/2, 1/2, or 0.5 as well. So since the midpoints of AC and BD are the same, then the diagonals bisect each other. Thus, ABCD is a parallelogram. Okay, so let's have more examples on how to use the midpoint. Actually, it's just easy. Find the average of the x and find the average of the y. So let's have number 1. Find the midpoint, find the coordinates of the midpoint of the line segments joining each of the following pair of points. Number 1, points A and B's midpoint are located at 5, 2, and 7, negative 8. So we add 5 and 7, divide by 2, and then negative 8 plus 2, which is divide by 2, which will give us 12 over 2 and negative 6 over 2. Simplifying them, the midpoint of AB is located at 6, negative 3. Number 2, same procedure. We add 2 and 8, which gives us 10, divided by 2, and then 4 plus negative 2 will give us 2 divided by 2, which it will give us 10 over 2 and 2 over 2. And when we simplify it, we're going to have 5, 1. Okay, for the third one, the pattern is simply adding negative 1 and negative 2, then divided by 2, then negative 10 plus negative 10 divided by 2. So we are going to get the midpoint of EF, which is located at negative 3 halves and negative 20 over 2. This negative 20 over 2 can still be simplified. So the midpoint of EF is located at negative 3 halves and negative 10 for the y coordinate. And last one, we have to add negative 5 plus 4 for the formula, divided by 2, and then 4 plus 1 divided by 2. Therefore, the midpoint of GH is located at 0.5 or negative 0.5 for x, and 2.5 or 5 over 2 for the y coordinate. So I hope you learned something in today's video about the midpoint formula. So with that, that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.